Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Marzullo here, Ram Studio Comics, and got another video for you today. Today's topic is going to be stretching the pose, and what that means, and my definition of that is uh, over dramatizing a pose to make it more comic book ish, taking it more into a level of dramatization. So I'll show you by, like, for instance, a very typical shot that you would draw is somebody throwing a punch, right? So as I sketch this out real quick, I'll start with a decent thrown punch or whatever. Nothing too great because I want to show you the difference from somewhat basic to what I would consider more dramatic or more cinematic. So let's see. This guy's throwing a punch and he's kind of leaned into it. You got, the three parts, which are the head, abdomen, upper body, and, pelvic region. Those are your three masses when you're trying to draw, a character and get some sort of motion or movement. You kind of focus on those three parts first, and then, you add your limbs and everything. So what we'll do is draw this out real fast here so I can give a basis to what I'm trying to explain, or a starting point. Of the leg bend back here, foot dropping down, knee here, leg back. Forgive me, I'm still warming up, so this may look a little bit crude. And he might really be pointing off that toe, or lunging off that toe. There's got to always be that groundedness, unless you want the characters just flying through the air, which is, you know, obviously fine. In comic books, you can get away with anything. But to give it a little bit more power, you might want to show the contact point to the ground. It shows more realism to what somebody would have to do to throw that punch. Okay, so that's obviously, that's fine. That's a traditional punch you'd see. I don't know, 90% of people draw or whatever. I'm not saying it's bad. It's okay. It does a job. I gave him a bit of a Popeye form. Let me shrink that down a bit. Well, this is just the rough sketch, anyways. The thumbnail, if you will. So there's that. Let me move this guy over. Nope. Come on. Bit of technical difficulty there. Come on. Oh, got it. Goodness, sorry. I haven't used this in a minute. I actually hit the expand selection versus the expand command or whatever, until I haven't been using Mango Studios much lately. And just so you know, that is the software I'm using, even though I'm not showing the interface in this one. This isn't a tutorial on the software, it's a tutorial on stretching the pose, so forgive that there, please. Okay, so there's our first initial starting point for the pose. Now I'm going to show you how, if I wanted to really over dramatize that, what I would do to really bring that out. So again, I start with the head. I always draw the head, upper body, and then pelvic region. Now, if I want to bring that further into a dramatized kind of view, I would draw, well, for one, I'd probably put the shoulder right in front of the face. And I know I'm drawing this out of order, what I just told you, but I want to make sure that shoulder goes right in front of the face, which to me shows like a very emphasized punch. Like he's really, contorting his body to throw this punch in this perspective. The fist I'll keep somewhat the same. If I wanted to over dramatize it a little bit more, I could probably increase the size of the fist and show some foreshortening here. But for this purpose, I'll keep that about the same. So I'm trying to show mainly the difference from stretching the pose. So now I'm going to have the other shoulder way back here. So you see more more of a dramatic bend in the torso, and then I'm going to really angle the body like a lot, to really show that he's stretching almost, you know, almost out of his own reach to make this punch. Alright, so there's that shoulder. The neck would connect through here somewhere. Maybe the eyes are all you see, a little bit of the mouth, but barely any. This arm would be way back for the counter punch, or the, uh, you know, lining up the next one basically. And so that. Okay, so now, and for the legs, let's see, there's always that, can't remember what it's called, but it's the counterbalance of, if this arm is forward, that particular leg on the same side is back. So we'll stretch that way back. Also, the fact that the legs kind of do this curve downward here and back here. I'll erase that line so you can see it better. So it kind of does this maneuver. You don't want to show that too much. This looks like his knees broke right there, but you just want to always draw that as my underline, and then I'll overdo my musculature on top of it and make it not quite as pronounced as that initial line that I made. So he's got that leg stretched way back. Now this one is kind of forward. We'll kind of forward and curve it just a little bit towards the camera. Not much, but it looks more interesting than if you get in the habit of saying, oh, this one's flat back this way, this one's flat back that way. You start doing that and your characters always look very boring. So you got to remember that arms and legs aren't 2x4s, they curve. And then to make this look even more pronounced, see how the legs back and down right there? Kind of did that intentionally because to stretch the pose on this one, I was going to tuck that leg back really far. And I'm sorry, that's a horrible looking foot. It's kind of like a little diamond there. So that one's, maybe even tucked back in a way like that or something. But just real quick, just so you see that by putting the leg, or the lower part of the leg, all the way back like that, it makes it more pronounced. And then you get this foot that this time we're going to have him right off the ground, so even more comic book or more animated. So if you see the difference there, these are just roughs, so I'm not going to take them too finished, because I'm just trying to show the difference in how you could try to stretch the pose. So to me, the second one is a lot more interesting, shows more action. If you want to make it look even more pronounced, some sweeping lines like this, a pow, whap, kind of thing. You always want to show the aftermath of the punch is more impactful than the punch itself. So always keep that in mind also. Alright, so now another one that we can kind of stretch the pose, because I'd like to show you at least 2 examples before I call this a true tutorial. I want to make sure that you learned something on this. So I'll show you another example, and this one will be real basic. Well, we'll just take a woman standing, because you got to remember when you're drawing these comics that you have to draw basic stuff too. You can't just draw superheroes with their chest out bouncing bullets off. You got to show just a lady standing there, kind of hand up, explaining something, so that's what we'll do here. So you see I'm just kind of roughing out the shape, doing my little stick figure kind of start, one leg off to the side to give her a little bit of pizzazz, some style. Move that up here. I'll size it down so I got some room here, because really one of the things I noticed right now by looking at this, just small observation, is that the legs are just too short for comic book land. If you're gonna draw a comic book woman, her legs should be like down to here, really elongated and accentuated to make it, more fantastical, which is what you're trying to achieve here, is fantasy type drawing. So you might as well give her the nice long legs, which You got to be careful. I've seen some people go a little bit too far with that, but whatever, whatever floats it, whatever floats the proverbial boat. And I got her a little bit crooked there, but you know what? Control T is a beautiful thing. Oops, even though it's turning everything, but you know what I could do, as soon as my computer catches up to my brain here, just grab just that leg and do the rotation. Yeah, that way out of whack, just right over in there somewhere. Even though I don't want to spend too much time on this one, because this is going to be the boring pose first, and then I'm going to show you how you can, even bring a basic pose out like this to a little bit more, um, you know, dramatized and caricatured or animated, style. Real basic. Sorry, it's pretty ugly, but you get the point. This is, again, you want your initial sketches to be just that. You want them to be rough and loose because you're still trying to work out what's going on here. You want to figure out your character and your shapes that you're going to use to make whatever it is you're making. So you don't want to, never get in the habit of drawing like this. Here's an arm, and drawing all the way around the arm, and well, see how horrible that came out. You would never draw like that. And in the beginning, I think you do draw like that as a beginning artist. You got to remember that it's better to sketch it all out than redraw over top, redraw over top. Keep sketching, and you're going to come up with a really nice piece of artwork within a few redraws and things like that. So you're not, you're not putting down the pencil and drawing a straight line or I don't know, one continuous spaghetti strand around your entire piece of artwork. So, okay, so now how do we make this pose look more interesting? It's kind of just a basic standing pose. She's explaining something. She's got her hand up. She's got one leg out, so she's not, standing too stiff or whatever. Which that still looks pretty stiff, but let's see if we can fix that now. Alright, so same thing, head, upper body. But now, one thing that I noticed about that one is there's not enough of a curve, especially for drawing, sensual looking women. You want you want a lot of curvature in there, so really bend that spine. You don't want to overdo that, make her look like she's got a broken back, but I would say closer to over than under as far as that technique, because you really want you really want to push the envelope of what you're trying to do here and over accentuate things like that. That's going to give you style. Style works better in comics than correctness sometimes. There's a lot of artists that I've seen over the years that were very solid and very correct in their way of drawing, but they never got the big following and the huge success than as the guys that did over stylized renditions. So, and that's my opinion, of course, research your own, but so I would say lean a little bit more towards over exaggerated and over stylized, but always keep your basis and your foundation of what looks good or what looks correct, because if not, you're going to get a lot of haters, and you're going to have a lot of people that say, well, that's just not how feet are drawn or hands are drawn or whatever. So you want to mix those two up. So you see I'm bending the spine. I did tilt the pose more to the side so I could show off the curvature of the back more. I maybe even move the head back further again to go with the angle in comparison to this one's more straight up and down, so I'll move the head back a little bit. Tilt the head away from the center line. If you see here, the center line is all the way down like this, so it's a lot more of a boring pose. Now by having the center line of her abdomen going this way, her face center line going this way, it immediately makes the pose more interesting. The other thing is to, let's see if we can really make the legs more appealing too. Um, let's see if by bringing this one out, I think just because the pose is tilted more, even the legs should look a little bit more appealing. Let me see if I can get this right here. You know what we can do? Let me try tilting the one leg back. Let me see if that helps it now. Because of the angular pose and the arch in the back, that might help the design. But also remember too, um, I'm never fully committed in this stage. That's what sketching's all about. Like this is merely to work everything out, and just like it says, thumbnails. You're kind of spitballing and thumbnailing this thing together, and then if uh, if something looks cool and resonates with you, and it sticks, then you work on that and you bring that out, and you keep working with that appeal. But if not, you're keeping your sketches so loose and quick that if they're not what you like, you just toss them and there's no hard feelings. You're not married to this portion of the design yet and going, oh man, I've put countless hours into my drawing, and then it went to it went kaput. You just have to. Um, that's the purpose of getting them down fast like this, and just working it out. And so you can see how the one on the right is a lot more appealing than the one on the left. Um, as far as the feet, I don't know if there's much more I can do to bring that out. Let me do one flat foot. What do you call it? Like her weight's there, and then the other one kind of tiptoed out or something. I don't know. I don't know what to call that. Something like that. If she's wearing the same kind of funky little dress thing there. Yeah. So, at any rate, I think I would have it bend in like that so you still get the curvature going on. But yeah, so at any rate, that's what I wanted to explain today. That is just what I'm considering stretching the pose. So you got your first punch design, which is it's okay. It'd work in a standard comic drawing or whatever. You could probably make that work. But I think punch 2 is a lot more interesting to look at. And then same thing with the girl pose. Pose 1 could work, even though it looks really basic and boring. But pose 2 has just a little bit more flair. So go ahead and give that a try on your own. Try to draw something and then bring it out a little bit more with the next pose. Maybe even take it to a third pose and see if you can, bring it out even further. And that's all of what your practice should do for you. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like and share the videos. It's always appreciated. And then also check out robertmarzullo.com. That's my new website to promote my artwork. I'll eventually have more on the Blackstone comic from there. And also check out the Blackstone Eternal comic if you don't mind. As always, thanks for watching. More videos on the way. Take care, keep drawing, and keep having fun. Bye-bye.